So in this video, I wanted to talk about The Eminence and the Shadow episode 8, because this is an interesting episode that has people in different camps when it comes to how this episode was done. And for those that do not know, this is an anime original episode. So beforehand, episodes 1 through 8 were covering volumes 3 of the light novels, and now we are entering into volume 4. And most of us had anticipated that the final part of the series will cover only just half. It won't cover all of it. So you've got episodes 9, 10, 11, 12, which are the 4 episodes, will be covering probably half of the next volume. Maybe they might throw another filler in there. I highly doubt it, but you never know with these kind of things. But I feel like that is a pretty good amount of episodes for half a volume. But I've always seen a lot of people still saying that, oh no, well, they should have given 8 episodes for a whole volume. And I get that people want the story to go really close to the source material, really one-to-one. But you've also got to remember that the anime and the light novel are 2 different forms of media. And even web novel included, web novel, light novel, and anime are very different forms of media. And an anime has to be paced appropriately to keep the interest of the viewer. I saw this dilemma with DanMachi Season 4, where a lot of light novel fans were really happy how close it was to the source material, but then a lot of anime-only fans were getting really agitated how slow-paced it was. And the one fear that I have is that light novel fans kicking and screaming, and even web novel fans kicking and screaming about The Eminence and the Shadow, are going to demand something that's just going to end up making anime fans not enjoy it. And at the end of the day, light novel fans, you still have the light novels. Like, if you want that pure, authentic experience, you have the source material. So I saw a lot of people very upset that episode 8 was an anime original and it was just basically fan service. I mean, there really wasn't a heavy amount of, like, complex fights going on it. It was a lot of still shot images, but it was still shot images that were very eye candy driven, and that's what I really expected from this episode. I didn't expect anything insane. I feel like they'll save most of their time and energy for episodes 9 through 12, which will be going over the next part of volume 4, and I think that's fine. I think giving us something fun, a bit of filler of the episode, it's just easy, it's fun, it's good. What's there not to enjoy? And plus, it gives more time for other characters to also be introduced, like a certain fox girl, a certain vampire girl, some of the other girls got introduced. It gave a little bit of flair and fun to it. And I do have a kind of insane take that I will get to in a minute, but I think the episode was good. I did see a lot of people upset about it, but I also saw a lot of people upset that Sid wasn't in the episode, which I find rather funny because the last week I've seen people complain that apparently, to their opinion, Sid destroys the story, but then I've seen people basically saying that Sid is like the best thing since sliced bread in the story. So there are 2 camps. There are people that love Sid and people that hate Sid. I enjoy Sid. I think he adds to the story, and I feel like taking Sid out of the story destroys the whole point of the story. So I'm just like, okay, you don't like Sid? It's like, what did you expect? But for me, what got more funny was people that were not happy the 2 certain boys, the friends of Sid, were going to be in the episode. And I knew straight away they were going to be tortured. They weren't going to be a heavy focus, and they weren't a heavy focus, and they just got tortured. I thought it was funny. It kind of makes a mockery of those characters, because there's a lot of, like, harem animes where you've always got those, like, characters that just love, like, being all raunchy and, like, try to climb over things. It did all those cliches, and then it made fun of them and tortured them, and that's what I kind of just thought was good. It did that well. But for me, this is where my take kind of becomes more insane. I would love for them to do more of these episodes, and I'm not saying, like, not do the core story. I'm just saying I would love for them to do more of Eminence in the Shadow and do stuff like this, because for me, at the end of the day, once season 2 is finished, we shouldn't be seeing a season 3 for a while, because my concern is if they speed run through the light novels, we will then have to wait an even longer time before we ever see another season. So I don't want to see massive gaps between seasons. I kind of want them to pace them more appropriately, and unless the author's pumping out a new volume every year guaranteed, and even then you might have to go a little bit faster to keep up with an anime, they are going to get to a point where the source material is going to be very limited on what they can cover. And one of the things I'd love to see is for them to just do some fun, fluffy, easygoing episodes. Like, for example, you look at the Slime series. There's Slime Diaries. Yes, it is a different art style, but they could do something with the same art style or whatever, and it'd just be fun day-to-day lives with Sid, the girls, doing all kinds of shenanigans. It'd just be fun. It'd be anime original content. It'd just be something that just gives us more Eminence and Shadow. I don't even care if it's OVAs. like a 3-part OVA or something in between seasons to give us a little bit more of a gap, allow for the source material to get ahead even further, and it would still just give us more Eminence in the Shadow. So for me, I just want more Eminence in the Shadow. It doesn't mean that we can't also have the main core story, because I'm sure some people say, oh, but that would detach away from the core story. No, it wouldn't. It would just mean that we would have more. You'd have the main story, you'd have the same pacing with that, you'd have it following the source material as closely as possible, but also while you're waiting for more of the main story, you can just have some fun, silly stuff going on as well. I just like Eminence in the Shadow. I don't take the show too serious, even though, yes, there's some interesting plot points that do develop later on in the story, which anime-only fans haven't gotten to yet. But I've never taken the Eminence in the Shadow series. I enjoy it for what it is, the silliness, the fun, and also the girls themselves. They're just top tier waifu material. So this episode is something I want to see more of. I want it added on to what we're currently getting with the main story as well. But I know that's probably going to be a hot take. I'm sure I'll catch some heat for it, but at the end of the day, I just want more Eminence in the Shadow, and any form of more Eminence in the Shadow is an absolute win for me. I really love the episode, but as I mentioned, it's not some high animation, like heavy, complex fights. There are some fights in it where some of the girls are kind of competing and all that, but it's just still shot images, and I think there's nothing wrong with that, and I'm sure many people will take a lot of those still shot images and they will use them for fun wall posters, backdrops on their phone, or whatever you decide to use them for. And I think that's great. I think it's almost like a love letter from the studio, because the studio itself, from what I've heard, the director and all that, are very big fans of the series. And so I feel like this is just a fun little like love letter, but like here's some fan service, here's some art for you to enjoy it and relish in. And especially the ending shot itself has all the girls. Now I can't even show any of these images from this episode, because the funny part about being a content creator is I struggle enough with Eminence in the Shadow to show enough of the series in still shot images because of how much fan service there is. So this episode was the worst. I can't show really anything at all because it's all just amazing booty shots. So you're just going to have to experience it yourself. And I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What did you think of the episode? For me, I really liked the fact that they actually, even for short periods of time, showed some of the other girls. They didn't have to put heavy focus on them, but they had like the Fox girl, the Vampire girl, certain other individuals from the school. It gave a little bit of attention to them while they're doing things, and that's why I want to see more of it. Just give a little bit of love to characters that don't get all the focus anymore. And of course you had the focus on all the other major girls, and Beta being Beta, it's to me, it's like, what's not to love about it? It's just fun. But again, I know there will be some people that will probably be not agreeing with me, and that's perfectly fine. If you don't like it, that's fine. Next week we're basically back to probably the main story unless something changes, but I would say we will be entering volume 4 next episode, so that is perfectly fine. Look forward to it. I will be looking at reading volume 6, so if you do want my light novel breakdowns, check the description and the pinned probably comment, and I will have a playlist of all my light novel analysis videos breaking those down, and I look forward to getting to volume 6 soon. So if you like this video, hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you beautiful nerds in the next video.